Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line for a second time this week and for actual reviews this time of things that have actually happened. I guess we did review trailers in the other ones. So anyways, it is what it is. Friends, it is Mike Reyes from Cinemablend. Hey, buddy.
Hi-yo! A variant of it was, I'm blanking on his name right now. Ed the Can. Because he goes,
That's what it was. Yeah. Anyways. That's neither here nor there. Mike is joining me early on a Friday morning. We got to actually see some stuff last night. Both of us will be talking about Star Wars Acolyte. I watched both episodes. Mike watched at least one. But Bad Boys is the big movie out this weekend. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, they're back for a fourth time. Can I give you a confession about this movie?
Sure.
I've only ever seen part of the first one.
That's okay.
It's not that I don't like Will Smith or Martin Lawrence or whatever. They're movies I haven't got into. And I do want to start out with this. I saw a TikTok video of Will Smith the other day. They were like in a group meeting and they were talking about something, and the guy, they were showing off a gun or something. The guy picked it up and like pointed it right at him, and Will immediately pushed it down, grabbed it, cleared it, and the end of the video is he goes, "Terrible gun safety."
Oof.
It's cool when you see some of these guys that have had to go through this training know exactly what, they're doing.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into another video that's been floating around with Will Smith. They show some pretty sick camera moves on this movie because there's a rig that's on him. And I don't know if it's on Martin Lawrence at one point, but it's on him. The resulting shot in the movie is like a first-person shooter shot.
Yeah.
You're looking through the barrel of his gun, taking down guys, and then he'll turn the camera around and it shows him with that same gun. So like the gun is stationary, but there's a way that he can flip the camera by pushing out with the gun.
Yeah, I think the gun is the lever on it. Where the camera's pointing.
Yeah.
So no, that's a very cool shot. I saw that floating around on social media as well. Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die. What do we think?
I think it's amazing. Now, to be fair, there are certainly issues in here. The villain is underdeveloped. There's at least one cameo I can think of where they really did not. It was just sort of in there. And I don't know if you can really call it a cameo because they're listed right in the opening credits. But that was just kind of, okay, you threw this random person here for a scene. Okay, cool.
Okay.
And they randomly, I guess Teresa Randall wasn't available, so they recast Martin Lawrence's wife in the film. Nothing against the actress that they brought in, but it's just like, it was so jarring. It's like, is that supposed to be her? And then it's like, it's just a little bit of confusion, but that's a nitpicky thing.
Okay.
It's not a performance thing. But what this movie does so well is the fact that this is definitely guns blazing action adventure, just thrill. I mean, it's a damn thrill ride.
Okay.
It is. So, and then this is a very divisive movie too, because some people think that, the formula is wearing thin. It's not exactly, some people are just not on board with this, and some people are. And I am one of the people that's on board with this. Adil and Bilal, the directing duo who also did Bad Boys for Life, came back to do Bad Boys Ride or Die. And I want these guys to do a Call of Duty movie. And then I conversely want a Bad Boys Call of Duty style shooter, because the visual language that is used in this movie is so, like, there's a final showdown set piece that feels like a Call of Duty map, but I don't mean that in a bad way.
Okay.
I mean, they laid this thing out like a Call of Duty map, and you follow the action through it as if you're going through the map. And it's just, my breath was taken away by that. And this is a very fast-paced, get-up-and-go story, sort of technically continuing off from parts of Bad Boys 2, but also Bad Boys for Life, with Captain Howard, Joe Pantoliano's character, now dead. Mike and Marcus are sort of thinking about life and thinking about where they're going from here. And Mike gets married out of nowhere, and a villain connected to their past tries to frame their old captain for embezzlement and just shady stuff. And now they're on the run because they're being targeted by the same people that are trying to do the frame up.
So you liked it, though. It was a damn thrill ride, you said.
Yes, it is 5 minutes short of 2 hours, but the thing just goes. It does not stop for air. It does not stop for questions. But at the same time, it's not a hard story to follow. It's just enough story to keep you on the hook.
Okay.
And to keep all the action bonded together in this just wonderful, fast-paced saga. Just, it's good. It's so much fun.
So basically, it hits all the beats.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me right now as we talk about Bad Boys for Ride or Die, right?
Yeah, that's another thing that people have loved to skewer this series for, is the fact that Bad Boys for Life would have been a great title for a fourth movie. But if I read correctly, the directors had said that they didn't use that. They used that title for 3 because they didn't know if they were going to make a 4.
Oh, I get it.
It's like, okay, we're going to use that while we can because it's there.
All right, I can live with that. Over on the other end of things, we got some Star Wars this week, some new Star Wars, some Star Wars that doesn't, at this point, work into the Chosen One or anything like that. Star Wars Acolyte dropped the first 2 episodes on Disney+. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I know Mike has watched the first one. What'd you think of that first episode?
It's good. I mean, it shows promise. It's definitely, I like that there's no homework that's required, but at the same time, if you know Star Wars, you're familiar with the stuff that you're seeing. And ultimately, it's intriguing enough that I am going to continue.
Okay.
I'm going to continue watching this. Like, episode 2 is up there. In fact, I might throw that on during today. But, yeah.
Now, for anybody that is listening to this, we are going to have some spoilers here for the first 2 episodes, at least the first episode, because Mike has seen it. But what a waste of Carrie-Anne Moss.
Hey.
Like, I knew she was in it. I didn't, like, it wasn't in my head of what she was going to be doing. So when you immediately see her, it's like, oh, okay. I did think the first fight with her in that bar was a little too Matrix-y.
But I liked that.
I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I just thought, I'm like, this seems a little too much like the Matrix. For a second, it flashed in my head that it's like, oh, what if this was a different reality within the Matrix? It's like a holodeck type thing, and she's playing a character.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm interested in it. I'm not going to say I fell in love with it. And I'm certainly not in love with the Jedi.
I don't think you're supposed to be. I really don't think you're supposed to be, because this is the beginning of the Sith. And from what I understand, they wanted to show the Sith as like the underdog. And in Star Wars, we usually root for the underdogs. And that was what Leslie Headland, the show's creator, wanted to do. And it's like, okay, cool. Challenge me with that. And I'm really interested to see how that plot line plays out. But for the most part, it shows promise. I am interested.
The whole idea of, or you know what I was through the first 2 episodes? There's only like maybe one person for sure that is a likable Jedi character in this. Everybody else seems kind of fake, kind of holier than thou. Like I'm wondering if they meant it to be like that to go along with making the Sith more, or easier to like.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. We are seeing the beginning of the Sith where they're not, because keep in mind, this is 100 years before Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So between this point and Phantom Menace, where the Sith reveal themselves, there's going to be so much. I mean, I'm assuming the Acolyte's only the beginning of it, but there would be so much story to fill in about the evolution of that code and how they eventually went as dark as they did. Because right now it's just the Jedi are idiots, and I don't like that, and I want revenge.
Yeah.
And it's like you would expect that from a system like the Jedi, because even when you look at the prequels in a certain light, the Jedi are kind of unlikable. It's like they deny Anakin the rank of master. Oh, you're too old, kid. You shouldn't have been here doing this, blah, blah, blah,
Don't you
blah,
dare smile.
Yeah, you can't love. It's like the Jedi Order is so damn stuffy.
Yeah.
You can't love. You can't have personal attachment. You can't do this. They're so stoic and stuffy, and they think that they're the peacekeepers of the galaxy. And the Sith were just a long time coming. You
know what my one prediction in this is? I think we'll get a Yoda cameo at some point.
I haven't read it, but there's been some quotes floating around about where Yoda is during this point in the timeline.
Because he's alive. I mean, he's like, almost 900 some years old in Return of the Jedi. So he's there.
Yeah. Oh, Oh yeah, he's young. I mean, come on. If it was only 100 years before Phantom Menace, he was in Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is only like 30, 40 years before.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Return of the
younger.
Jedi,
He's
if I
not.
remember
He's
correctly.
not young. He's still over 500 years old at this point. But he's around. He can be doing something.
Yeah.
I will say this: the Jedi robes of the time were ugly.
Yeah, Jedi robes never really caught on with me. That was always just kind of.
Anakin's did the black. Ugh, yeah.
Well, Anakin's a different story.
I know.
I mean, Anakin had like more style to him.
Did you notice? Did you see the one night we meet at the beginning when he ignited his lightsaber? Did you notice how wide it is?
Where was this?
And I can't think of his name. It's the first Jedi Knight we meet. He's got maybe that was in the second one. He ignites his lightsaber at some point, and it is very wide.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I noticed that. I noticed Coruscant. I liked how it's not near as many cars flying around. Like it's
It's
And my other question about the Star Wars universe: why is it always you're either high technology or dirt floor poor? It looks like.
I don't like. I guess that's just how.
Like there's never
the
any.
galactic.
There's never any like suburbs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's no middle class in the Galactic Republic.
It's like everything's either, real high tech, awesome living spaces and cities and all this, or it's stone made buildings. Like, you just don't see anybody's like house. So anyways, I liked it. I'm not in love with it yet. I'm willing to give it a chance. It's kind of interesting. I do think it was a waste to Carrie Ann Moss. I would watch a whole series about her being a Jedi.
Oh, absolutely. I get why they did it. I get the storytelling practice that they're putting into play here. It's like it's just like Janet Leigh at the beginning of Psycho, where it's like, hey, we cast this big actor, and you're not going to expect them to die in the first fight. But now it's gotten to the point where it's like, I'm expecting her to die in the first fight.
Yeah, it had to be done.
It's like I'm watching this, and it's like she's going to die in this fight, isn't she? And that's going to be like, because they're talking about this big crime kicking everything off. It's like she's going to be the one to die.
I like some of the dialogue in this. I like it being set in a different time. I'm not in love with it yet, though. So that's where I'm kind of at.
Again, it shows promise. I'm excited to see where this goes, especially because if it continues to build into something that. If it continues to build into something greater, I would just like another way to get out of the Skywalkers. Like, we don't need to go back to the Skywalkers every time. We don't need to go back so soon. As much as I like Daisy Ridley as an actor, I don't think we need the Rey movies, but we'll see what they do with those.
Is it just me, or are you waiting for this to let you down?
I'm afraid it will let me down. I'm not waiting for it to, because I like to go in with an open mind, but I'm afraid it will, because I remember WandaVision.
Yeah.
I remember how that show started with like strong premise, great hook, great mystery. And then by the time it got to the middle, it was like, we're not even dedicated to doing this TV show shtick anymore. And well, we've got a mystery anymore, but we've got some really good lines that people will meme and remember about Grief, because that's what we were trying to do this whole time. What did you think we were trying to do?
I think there's part of me that's waiting for this to have because I feel like Star Wars likes to go back and redo things, like, The Chosen One, and what that actually means, that kind of stuff. I'm waiting for this to have an ending where it's like Anakin wasn't really the chosen, something like that, or like it prophesizes in a different way, or some bullshit like that. That's this real deep meaning that sets up something, the Rey movies or the other movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
like it's got to connect back to the universe, because that's what it's meant to do, and shut up and eat your Star Wars.
Yeah. Because I feel like Star Wars tries to do that a lot, and Marvel tries to do that a lot, because when they go back and they do prequels and all this other stuff. But I think it's, I wish they would do stuff like, what was the latest Charlie and Chocolate Factory movie? Was that it? Wonka. I'm sorry. The part you were talking about where he drops the coin into the drain.
Yeah.
Which, they don't specifically say that sets up the next movie or anything, but I'd rather have it be light-handed like that, where it's like, oh, does that mean this? Rather than,
Yeah, like you're.
the Emperor's going to make clones and her daughter's going to be the best Jedi ever.
Yeah, it's like you feel like you've stumbled onto something when you discover it or someone tells you about it. And even if it isn't an outright reference, it's a nice nod to the original.
Yeah. So anyways, I think that'll pretty much do it. Anything else this week, Mike?
No, I mean, I still have to see Hitman, which is Richard Linklater's latest with Glenn Powell, tying it back to Glenn Powell. This has been a real cyclical week, man. And if anybody wants to know why we were talking about Glenn Powell, listen to the other part of this week's duo of episodes. I kind of like that we're getting more bang for the buck on these episodes.
Yeah, I just thought I'd try it. I don't know if
people enjoy it too, because it's like you don't have to wait. You know, you've got a nice non-spoilery thing sitting over here, and then you got you got meat and potatoes here, is what I'm saying.
Meat and potatoes.
You've got the entree.
Meat and potatoes, everybody. You know, you got the meat over here, and you go over here, and if you want strawberry potatoes, you get strawberry potatoes. It's crazy.
And you got a nice mashed potatoes over here, and then I went for a grilled steak over here. It's just very lovely.
Did you watch that new South Park yet?
I need to.
Did we ever talk about that?
I think we talked about it ourselves, because I remember we should talk about it briefly here, because it's South Park. What was it? The End of Obesity, I think, is the name of the special. And I still find it interesting that they're just making specials right now instead of episodes, but I think there's apparently a reason behind that. I think there's been a legal battle with South Park because of some rights being shared between Warner Brothers and Paramount, or like originally South Park was on Max, and then it started going over to Paramount Plus. So I think the whole thing is like, if they make exclusive specials for Paramount Plus, it gets to stay there. Don't quote me on that, but that's my random understanding of what's going on here.
Okay.
But yeah, that is another interesting subject, because we've got 25th anniversary screenings of South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut coming, and they're going to be sing-alongs.
Oh, that's going to be great. Anyways,
I want to go.
I do too. The movie or special or whatever just came out. It was only okay. It was.
Yeah, you were telling me that off air.
It was not near as funny as a few of the other ones,
which really makes me upset, because the first thing I thought of when they showed that they were going to do the Ozempic thing was, I thought they were going to maybe include a reference to the whole Drake-Kendrick Lamar rap battle, because the whole beef between the two of them, because I think it was Kendrick that had that weird photo as the cover to one of the singles, and it was basically like Drake's personal effects, including a box of Ozempic.
That's pretty funny. I'm trying to find a list of all the...
That's what I remember.
I'm trying to find a list of all the South Park specials. It tried to do some stuff. It just wasn't that funny. I had to watch it in two different sittings, just because it was like, okay. They did South Park post-COVID, South Park post-COVID, Return of COVID, South Park The Streaming Wars, South Park The Streaming Wars Part 2.
I think that's where I left off, because I think I watched the COVID specials, because that was the time travel where I still have issues with what they did to Cartman in that, because even though Cartman is an asshole, the way that they showed him in those episodes was like he had a family, he mellowed out.
Yeah.
And he wasn't as much of an asshole. And then they're like, nah, you know what? He's still an asshole. We're going to with his life.
They did the joining the Panderverse and the South Park Not Suitable for Children, the Cred episode, which I liked both of those. And you know what I think it was? Like, you take the joining the Panderverse thing, and that really dug in and, tried to make a statement about it. This is like, okay, we get there's an obesity problem. It's like their heart wasn't in it.
I'm wondering if that wasn't the case. I'm wondering if they tread more lightly because of the fact that it was about obesity and about these drugs that, while they're being used by some people as shortcuts, they're still drugs that some people need.
Yeah. I don't know. It just
diabetics tend to be prescribed Ozempic.
Yeah. The joining the Panderverse was like giving the finger to the world and really going after something and putting out some funny stuff that it really dug into it. This one, it was like, we did a story about We had some obesity in there. We had some the drug and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I think South Park has really changed over, like, I would say probably since 2016, because in 2016, after Trump won the election, they're like, well, we're not really gonna play as close to satirizing those sorts of things as we used to, and I forget the reasons why, but they basically made that decision in 2016, and then after that, it kind of feels like pop culture, they have no problem going hard, but sort of more, I guess, more divisive, more personally linked subjects, they step back a little bit, and I could be wrong here, but that's kind of what it seems like.
I thought Panderverse was hilarious.
I still need to catch up on everything past post-COVID. There's a lot of South Park I haven't watched because I fell off for a couple of years.
Well, it's been around for a quarter of a century, so,
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's been around for longer than that. Well,
but since I've been in high school.
26 years. Yeah, 26 years.
Yeah, so about a quarter of a century. So anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend joining me on the line to talk about movies and entertainment. Mike, we'll leave it there for this week. Thank you so much, and you have a good one.
You too, man. Yeah, man.